You were not born for their comfort. You were not shaped by luxury, nor sculpted by applause. You were carved in pressure, refined by silence, tested in the absence of rescue. While they built dreams on convenience, you built will from rubble. You were forged, not gifted, tempered, not tamed. And in your becoming, you learned what they fear to face, that peace is a mask, that order is a leash, and that the world only listens when strength speaks. They will call you merciless. They will say you've gone too far, that you've lost your soul somewhere along the climb. Let them. They confuse stillness with serenity. They confuse obedience with virtue. But you have seen the truth that lies beneath the veil, the truth that the world bows not to ideals, but to impact. Not to kindness, but to force. You did not come here to beg. You came to break the silence that protected their illusion. This is not about vengeance. This is not about destruction for its own sake. This is about clarity, about balance, about reclaiming what weakness has allowed to rot. The ones who built their kingdoms on lies, who whispered peace while tightening chains, they will feel the shift first. And when the ground begins to shake, they will not blame their greed. They will blame you because you remind them of the cost they never paid. You are the reckoning they always feared. There is no virtue in standing idle as decay spreads. There is no honor in letting the corrupt keep their thrones. If you must tear it down completely. If you must rise, rise without apology. They had their chance to listen when the world whispered. Now it will scream. And in that scream, in that collapse, you will walk unshaken, unburdened, unafraid. You do not carry rage, you carry necessity. And when they ask who gave you permission, who crowned you judge, who made you worthy to reshape the broken order, your silence will be enough. Because power does not ask for permission, it justifies itself. They will plead for understanding once the walls fall. They will speak of unity, of compromise, of rebuilding together, as if they did not stand idle while the rot took root. As if they did not profit from the suffering, avert their eyes from the decay, and mock those who warned them of the storm. Now that the storm has arrived in the shape of your will, now that it wears your resolve like armor, they seek mercy. But mercy is not the cure for decay. Fire is. You gave them time. You gave them silence. You gave them the chance to change. But power, once spoiled, does not yield to patience. It consumes. And to stop it, one must become something greater than resistance. One must become inevitable. You are that inevitability. You are not the voice in the crowd. You are the force that parts the crowd. You are the shift in the structure, the flaw in their design, the pressure they can no longer contain. They will say you are too rigid, that the world needs softness, that power must be restrained. But the truth is simple. Restraint built this cage. Softness enabled this ruin. And now only precision, only conviction, only you can break it. You do not act in anger. You act in alignment with the truth, with reality, with the weight of what must be done. And yes, it will be heavy. Yes, it will be cruel. But cruelty in the hands of purpose becomes justice. And justice does not apologize. Let them paint you in shadows. Let them fear the echo of your name. You are not here for their stories. You are not here to be understood. You are here to end the lie, to to take what has been hoarded, to punish the silence that let it all fester. You are not the villain. You are the verdict. They will try to rebuild in your image once the dust settles. They will scavenge your words, mimic your discipline, steal pieces of your resolve like relics from a forgotten temple. But they will never grasp the weight you carried. They will never understand what it took to become what you are, because they did not suffer the forging. They did not bleed for clarity. They did not stare into the abyss and climb through it. You were alone when it mattered. You made the decisions no one dared to consider. You stood where others shattered. They call it domination. You call it duty. And make no mistake, this is not about desire. This is about design. You were made for this, shaped by a world that gave you no choice but to rise or be erased. And in that rise, you abandoned what they cling to: comfort, validation, permission. Now you are the silence before collapse, the calm before the reckoning. You are not chaos. You are the consequence of order built on lies. They thought the world would bend forever, that the scales would never tip. But the scales have tipped, and you are the weight. You don't need to be loved. You don't even need to be remembered. You only need to finish what they were too afraid to start. Because the truth is this: the world does not change through kindness alone. It changes through confrontation, through fire, through force. You are that force. Not because you chose to be, but because no one else would. They wanted a savior in silk, someone who whispered peace while the pillars crumbled beneath their feet. But what they got was you, merciless only to the corrupt, cold only to the deceivers, ruthless only to those who fed on the weak and called it order. You did not ask for this role. It was thrust upon you by the failures of men who wore masks of leadership and crowns of cowardice. And now the crown has fallen, and you do not lift it, you crush it. This is not the rise of a hero. This is the return of truth. Hard, heavy, undeniable. You are not legend. You are not myth. You are what happens when patience dies and will take its place. The last sound they'll hear will not be a roar, but the silence of submission. The stillness of a world finally forced to listen. And when they look up, broken, breathless, bewildered, they will understand. You were never the storm. You were the correction. Like, comment, and subscribe.